Okay, here we have a multiple choice question. It has to do with the trigonometric function, a cosine function. So here we have a cosine function for x between 8 and 10. So between 8 and 10, function g has the same 0 as function f over this interval. Which of the following functions could be function g? So we have to find the zeros of this function. So let's write down that function right over here. Write it down. Now, how do we find the zeros of a function? Well, you just have to set the function equal to 0 and solve it. So let's do that. Let's set it equal to 0, and we're going to solve it. So if we set this function here, minus 1 equal to 0, and we're going to try and solve it. So let's add 1 to both sides. So we're adding 1 to both sides equals 1. So now we have this cosine function equal to 1. So let's just look at this part here. This is the angle part right here. So when will the cosine of what angle is equal to 1? Now let's just remind ourselves of what the cosine function looks like. Let's say have a little graph here. The cosine, just cosine of x. So cosine of what angle will give me 1? Now if you remember, you should know that the cosine function starts at 1 like this, and it's going to go down to here like that. It's going to hit over here, here, and then finish the cycle over here. So it'll go something like this, something like that. Okay, it's not perfect, but it's a wave that continues like that. And this is going to be pi over here, and this is 2 pi. Right, that's 2 pi. Let me just redo that. So it goes like this, like that. Okay, so for which angle will the function be 1? Well, when the angle is 0, it's 1. When the angle is 2 pi, it's also going to be 1. So that's when the cycle continues. So we know now that this has to be equal to 0. This angle has to be equal to 0. So if we solve this little equation, divide both sides by pi, we get x equals 9. So 9 minus 9 is 0. But it could also be equal to 2 pi. So this angle could also be equal to 2 pi. And if we solve this equation, divide both sides by pi, and you get x minus 9 equals 2. So x equals 11. So for this function, the zeros are when x equals 9 and x equals 11. But remember that the interval is from 8 to 10, so this is outside the interval, so we're not going to consider this one. So 9 is the 0 of this function over that interval. And we could look at it on Desmos. If you look at Desmos, here you see the function, and this is the actual function. And where are the zeros? 9. You see right there. The 0 is 9. Remember, it's been shifted. It's been shifted by 9. And it's minus 1, so it's down. It went down. The whole thing went down. And the period is 2. So the period is 2. Because this is a pi. The number next to the x is pi. So 2 pi over pi is 2. That's how you find the period. And there you have it. And there's the 0. So if we go back, let's see. So let's find g of 9 for a. For a, let's find g of 9 and see if it gives us a 0. Let's see if it gives us a 0. So g of 9 is going to be 9 minus 6 is 3. So base 3. So 3 to what power is 3? 1. So this is 2 times 1 minus 2. 2 minus 2, 0. Okay, that looks like it's going to work. It has a 0 and 9. Let's try the second function. Let's just so far it looks like A is the answer, but let's just check. Well, actually, it is the answer, but let's just check the other ones and see if it doesn't equal 0. So function B looks like this, plus 3, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. Okay, that's not a 0, so it can't be B. Cannot be B. It's not a 0. Let's try C. Put a 9 in function C. So 9 minus 8 is 1. The absolute value of 1 is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. Minus 10 is negative 8. And that's not a 0 either. So that can't be the answer. So it cannot be C. Cannot be B. So let's try D. So if I put 9 in there, what do I get? 9 minus 1 is 8. Negative 8. So the square root of negative 8, well, that's square root of a negative number. That's no real solution. It's an imaginary number, so we haven't done that. So that's not a solution. So yeah, A is the answer. It has 0, 9.